Welcome to Stories and Rhymes, Oh My. I'm Valerie, and this is my friend Penny Penguin. Penny Penguin is here because yesterday was Penguin Awareness Day. We're not going to talk about penguins, but she wanted to be a part of our day because today, if you look at my hat, is Popcorn Day. Today is January 19th, 2021, and we are going to celebrate with popcorn. So break open a bag of popcorn and enjoy the ride. Our first rhyme today is called I'm a Little Popcorn. And it goes like this. Pop, 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 says the popcorn in the pan. Pop, 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 you may catch me if you can. Pop, 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 says each kernel, hard and yellow. Pop, 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 I'm a jolly old fellow. Pop, 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 how I scamper through the heat. Pop, 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 you will find me good to eat. Pop, 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 I can swirl and skip and hop. Pop, 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 dancing, I will never want to stop. I'm a little popcorn in a pot. Heat me up and watch me pop. When I get all fat and white, I'm done. Popping corn is lots of fun. And that was I'm a Little Popcorn. Okay, our story that we're going to share tonight is an old fairy tale. And it's called The Story of Jason Squiff. And that's why I'm wearing this silly hat. And why he had a popcorn hat, popcorn mittens, and popcorn shoes. Jason Squiff was a cistern cleaner. And if you don't know what a cistern is, it is a tank that holds water. And people used to have those underneath or near their home, and it caught rainwater, and that's what they used in their home. So he was a cistern cleaner, and he had greenish yellow hair. If you look down into a cistern when he was lifting buckets of slush, here's his bucket of slush and mud, you could tell where he was. You could pick him out down in that dark cistern by the lights of his greenish yellow hair. Sometimes the buckets of slush and mud tipped over and ran down on top of his head. This covered his greenish yellow hair, and then it was hard to tell where he was, and it was not easy to pick him out down in the dark when he was cleaning a cistern. One day, Jason Squiff came to the Beamer house, and he knocked on the door. Did I understand you sent for me to clean your cistern in your backyard? He said to Blexy Beamer's mother. You understood correct, said Mrs. Beamer. Then I'll go to work and I'll clean your cistern, he answered, and away he went. He began cleaning the cistern when Blixie Beamer came out in the backyard, and she looked down into the cistern, and it was dark. It looked like nothing but all dark down there, and by she saw something greenish yellow. Sure enough, it was Jason Squiff, and he was hard on the job. The last bucketful of slush and mud came at last for Jason Squiff. He squinted at the bottom, but something was shining. He reached his fingers down through the slush and mud, and he took out what was shining. It was a gold buckstone whincher, which is kind of like a pendant or a necklace. And it was shining and glittering like a sign of happiness. What luck, said Jason Squiff, wiping his fingers on his greenish yellow hair. And then he put the gold buckskin whincher into his vest pocket. And he spoke to himself, it's good luck. A little after 6 at night, Jason stepped into his house and home, and he said hello to his wife and his daughters. And they all began to laugh at Jason because his hat had had turned into popcorn. And so did his gloves. And so did his shoes. And they all snickered. So they showed him that the hat was popcorn, and the mittens were popcorn, and his shoes were popcorn. And he didn't know that the gold buckskin wrencher had a power and was working all of the time. He didn't know that the wrencher in his vest pocket was saying, "You have a Q in your name. And because you have the pleasure and happiness of having a Q in your name, you must have a popcorn hat, popcorn mittens, and a popcorn shoes." The next morning, he put on his popcorn hat and another pair of mittens and another pair of shoes. And the minute he put them all on, guess what? They changed to popcorn. So he tried on all the hats and all the mittens and all the shoes, and they always turned into popcorn. He went down to the store and he bought a brand new hat, and he bought brand new shoes and brand new mittens. And the minute he had them on, they turned to popcorn too. So he decided he would go to work and clean cisterns with his popcorn hat, mittens, and shoes. The village people of Cream Puffs enjoyed watching him wake up the streets and going to clean their cisterns. People 5 and 6 blocks away could see him coming along with his popcorn hat, mittens, and shoes. And when he was down in the cistern, the children enjoyed looking down in the cistern to see him work. When none of the slush and mud fell on his hat and mittens, he was easy to find. The light of the shining popcorn lit up the whole inside of the cistern. And sometimes, of course, the white popcorn got full of black slush and black mud. And then when Jason came up and walked home, he was not quite so dazzling to look at. It was a funny winter for Jason. "It's a crime, a dirty crime," he said to himself. "Now I can never be alone in my thoughts. Everybody's looking at me when I go down the street. If I meet a funeral, even the pallbearers begin to laugh at my popcorn hat. If I meet people at a wedding, they throw all the rice at me as if I'm the bride and the groom. The horses try to eat my hat wherever I go. 3 hats have fed the horses this winter. If I accidentally drop one of my mittens, the chickens eat it." Then Jason's squint began to change. He became proud. "I always wanted a white, beautiful hat like this white popcorn hat," he said to himself. "And I always wanted white, beautiful mittens and white, beautiful shoes like the popcorn mittens and shoes." When the boys yelled, "Snowman!" he just waved his hand to them in an upward gesture of his arm to show that he was proud of how he looked. "They all watched me," he said to himself. "I am distinguished, am I not?" he asked himself. And he put his right hand into his left pocket and shook hands with himself. "You certainly look good." One day he decided to throw away his vest. And he forgot that the wrencher was in his pocket. The power of his letter Q was gone, and he no longer had a popcorn hat, popcorn mittens, and popcorn shoes. And when nobody looked at him down the cistern cleaning the cistern, and nobody saw him walking along the street, they went back to knowing him as the greenish yellow hair, which was always full of bright lights. And so, if you have a Q in your name, be careful if you ever come across a gold buckskin wrencher. Remember, different wrenchers have different powers. And that was the story of Jason and his popcorn hat. That is a fairy tale I had never heard of before, so I thought it was kind of fun to share it with all of you. So our next rhyme has some lovely popcorn in it and some popcorn kernels. We're going to put up our popcorn kernels if you guys want to count them with me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 popcorn kernels. And as you can see, our popcorn kernels, they're all different sizes. because not one is all equally the same size. So if we have 5 little kernels, what will happen as they get heated up? Do you have any idea what happens to a popcorn kernel as it heats up? Well, as it heats up, it starts to expand. And then it pops, right? So let's share our little rhyme. 5 little kernels sizzling in the pot. All of a sudden, one went pop. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4 kernels. 4 little kernels sizzling in the pot. All of a sudden, one went pop. And now we have 1, 2, 3 kernels. 3 little kernels sitting in the pot. One went pop. And then we had 1, 2. 2 little kernels sitting in the pot. One went pop. And then there was 1. 1 little kernel sitting in a pot. He went pop. And that's all the little kernels. Our whole pot of popcorn's all popped up. All right. Now, a little bit of math here tonight. We did some counting of our little kernels. And we're going to do some comparison too. So as you can tell, all of these kernels are a little bit different, as we talked about before. And we now know that we have 5 kernels because we counted them. But let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little kernels of popcorn. How are they the same and how are they different? Well, they're the same because they all have the same color. They're all brown with a little white tip. And how are they different? They're different because they're different sizes. Some are big and some are small. Which one is the biggest? Can you tell? I think that one might be the biggest. And which one do you think might be the smallest? I think this guy is the smallest. Now, how many pieces should I eat if I'm really hungry? Now, we can't eat the kernels. We have to wait until they're popped. And if you're really, really, really hungry, how many popped kernels do you think you might eat? All of them! Of course, because you're really, really, really hungry. That's right. So to round off our evening, we have one more little rhyme. Pop, pop, popcorn, popping in a pot. Pop, pop, popcorn, eat it while it's hot. Pop, pop, popcorn, butter on the top. When I eat popcorn, I can't stop. So go have yourself some yummy, buttery popcorn. And we'll see you next time.